The first thing I saw when I walked into Vale House was not the stage. It was Celine Vale's face on 20 different phones. 32 seconds of leaked rehearsal footage. 32 seconds of her standing in the middle of a ballet studio. Black clothes sharp against pale wood, her voice cutting through the room. "Stop!" That was all the clip showed at first. A dancer near the mirror trembling, Celine crossing the floor, the dancer saying, "I can do it," and Celine saying, cold as glass, "No, you can't." Then the internet did what the internet always does. It took 32 seconds, removed the before and after, and built a whole woman out of the worst angle. By the time I arrived, the clip had already become a headline, a meme, a verdict. The lobby was full of donors pretending not to watch it, dancers pretending not to whisper, journalists pretending they were there for the arts, and me, standing near the marble staircase with my camera bag over my shoulder, trying not to look like I had spilled coffee on my white shirt 15 minutes earlier and made it worse with a napkin. That was when I heard her voice in real life, not from a phone, from behind me. "Miss Voss." I turned. Celine Vale stood at the top of the stairs in black. Black trousers, black fitted jacket, black hair pinned low at the nape of her neck. She was not beautiful in a soft way. She was beautiful like discipline, like a locked door with perfect posture. The whole lobby reacted to her without meaning to. Shoulders straightened. Conversations died. A donor holding champagne lowered his glass as if even the bubbles had been given instructions. Celine looked at the phone screens first, then at me, then at the coffee stain on my shirt. Her eyes paused there for exactly 1 second. "Vittoria said you were precise." I looked down. "Yes, usually not with beverages." Nobody laughed. Celine did not smile, but something almost moved at the corner of her mouth. Almost. Then a donor near the staircase said, too loudly, "Perhaps the photographer should capture the real Celine today." The room went quiet. Celine did not look at him. That somehow made it worse. I watched her hand move to the banister, not a dramatic movement, but her fingers tightened, white at the knuckles. Because I am apparently incapable of surviving a professional assignment without making it worse, I lifted my camera. Click. Celine's eyes came back to me, slowly. "Delete that." The lobby stopped breathing. I lowered the camera. It's the first honest thing I've seen all morning. Her face did not change, but the silence did. "Miss Voss, you were not hired for honesty." I looked at the phone screens still glowing around us. That keeps happening to me. That was when Celine Vale walked down the stairs, stopped close enough that I could smell bergamot, rain, and something faintly medicinal under her perfume, and said quietly, "Then you should learn faster." Hours later, on the empty stage, that sentence came back to me. Celine's hand was on my camera strap, 2 fingers hooked lightly into the black band near my collarbone. The ghost light caught the edge of her mouth before I could look away. "Do you always stop right before the dangerous part?" she asked. I should have said something clever. I did not, because by then I already knew the official portrait was the safest thing we would make that night. This is the clean version of Dahlia's story. The part after the portrait, the part after the kiss, the part that belongs behind the locked stage door, is waiting in Dahlia's private darkroom on Patreon. You can find it through the pinned comment. But to understand why Selena asked for that final frame, I should start earlier. Vittoria called me at 7:12 that morning. I remember the time because I was standing in my bathroom holding a wet shirt under the faucet, trying to convince myself that coffee on white fabric could be interpreted as artistic distress. Vittoria's name appeared on the screen. Of course it did. She had a talent for appearing exactly when I was least prepared to sound elegant. I answered, "Good morning. Is it? It's becoming less so. Then I will be brief. You never are. You just speak in expensive riddles. I have a client. Do I get a warning this time? You get several. That is already worrying." Celine Vale. The bathroom went still. Even the water running over the shirt seemed to lower its voice. Everyone knew the name. Celine Vale had been a legendary ballet dancer before she became the director of Vale House. The kind of woman critics described as severe when they meant powerful, ruthless when they meant female, impossible when they meant she did not smile for people who had not earned it. She had danced for 12 years. Then she fell on stage during a winter premiere. One bad landing, one broken ankle. One career ended in front of 800 people who applauded before they understood the sound she had made was not part of the music. After that, she disappeared for almost 2 years. Then she bought the building that had once rejected her and rebuilt it as Vale House. And now there was the video. 32 seconds. The internet furious. I leaned against the sink. No. Vittoria was quiet. That was her favorite weapon. No. She is being burned alive online. She is being edited. That is a very Vittoria sentence. It is a very accurate one. Why me? Because the magazine needs a portrait today. They hired 6 photographers. Celine rejected all of them. Why? She said they photographed Apology before they photographed her. I hated that I understood the sentence. That is not a reason, I said. No, Vittoria replied. It is the doorway. I looked at the wet shirt in my hand and squeezed water into the sink. What is the warning? Do not ask about the fall. That seems difficult, considering the entire building is probably built around it. Then, you will have to be more skilled than the last 6 photographers. Flattering. And do not mention the video. I was not planning to walk in, holding my phone like a priest with a cursed relic. Good. Anything else? Yes. I heard paper move on her side of the call. Do not let her choose every shadow. That made me laugh once. Vittoria, she owns a ballet company. Choosing shadows is probably part of the membership. Dahlia. There it was. My name. Vittoria said my name, like she had just placed 2 fingers under my chin and expected me to stop pretending I was not affected. She is not asking for a beautiful photograph, Vittoria said. Then what is she asking for? That is what you are going to find out. One day you could give me a normal brief. One day you could accept a normal assignment. That sounds bleak. Exactly. Then she hung up. No goodbye. Vittoria believed goodbyes were for people who had lost control of the ending. I spent the next hour changing shirts, failing to trust the new shirt, packing 2 camera bodies, 3 lenses, extra batteries, a black blazer, and the tiny lint roller I only carried because powerful women always seemed to own lighting that exposed lint as a moral flaw. Before I left, I watched the leaked video again. 32 seconds. Celine crossing the studio. Elise, the young dancer, saying she could continue. Celine saying no. That was the part everyone loved. The coldness, the sentence without softness. But on the 4th watch, I saw something else. Elise's left ankle shifted wrong. Barely. A tiny betrayal of the body. The kind of detail you miss if you are busy deciding who the villain is. Celine saw it. The clip did not show her face long enough after that. Convenient. By the time I reached Vale House, the sky had turned the color of wet stone, and my shirt looked mostly innocent. The lobby did not. After Celine told me to learn faster, she turned and walked through the lobby as if the entire building had been designed around her spine. I followed. People moved out of her way, not quickly, carefully. That was different. Fear makes people jump. Power makes them calculate the distance before they step aside. Celine led me through a corridor lined with photographs of dancers, young faces, arched backs, hands reaching toward impossible light. Then, in the middle of the wall, a series of older posters showed Celine herself. Celine at 22, airborne in white. Celine at 25, wearing black feathers and looking like she had just forgiven the audience for existing. Celine at 28, her body curved into something so precise it almost hurt to look at. Then, nothing. No more Celine dancing, only Celine directing, Celine choosing, Celine standing behind younger women whose bodies still obeyed. I slowed without meaning to. She stopped without turning. Do not romanticize them. The photographs? The girl in them. I looked at the nearest poster. Celine mid-leap, mouth parted, eyes fierce. She looks hard to ignore. That was her job. And now? Celine finally turned. Now my job is to prevent other women from becoming offerings. I did not have a quick answer for that. She noticed. Of course she noticed. Rehearsal first, she said. Portrait after. I thought the portrait was the emergency. The emergency is the building. The portrait is the decoration. That sounds like something a woman says right before the decoration becomes evidence. Her eyes narrowed. Vittoria was right. About? You are irritating. She says that with fondness. She did not. She rarely sounds fond. It is part of her brand. Celine's mouth moved. Almost. Then the rehearsal room opened before us. It was enormous. High windows, pale wood. Mirrors along one side, a black grand piano near the corner, dancers stretching, adjusting ribbons, rolling shoulders, pretending not to watch Celine enter. The air smelled like rosin, sweat, hairspray, and panic disciplined into elegance. I lifted the camera. Click. A dancer's hand on the bar. Click. A line of backs bending forward. Click. Elise. I recognized her immediately from the video. Blonde hair in a tight bun, pale face, perfect neck, wrapped left ankle hidden under the soft pink lie of a ballet shoe. She was not a girl. 25, maybe 26. Old enough to know better. Young enough to think knowing better was something you could postpone for a role. Celine noticed the ankle before I finished raising the camera. Her face did nothing. Her hand did. 2 fingers pressed once against the side of her own thigh. There, a private echo. The rehearsal began. Piano notes moved across the room. Dancers turned, lifted, landed. The magazine man whispered to a donor. Camille Arden stood by the door with a board member and a smile that had never met a bruise it could not turn into policy. Celine watched everything, not like a tyrant, like someone counting the places where a body might break. Elise entered the combination. First turn, clean. Second turn, slightly late. Third. Her ankle shifted. Celine saw it. Stop! The piano died. The room became the video. I felt it happen. Everyone did. Elise straightened too fast. I'm fine. Celine crossed the floor. I did not ask. I can do it. No. A murmur moved near the door. Camille's voice, soft enough to be mistaken for concern. How familiar. Elise's face changed. Shame first, then anger. It's my body. Celine stopped. The sentence hit her somewhere old. I saw it. Click. The sound cut through the studio. Celine's eyes snapped to mine. So did Camille's. I lowered the camera slowly. Celine looked at me the way a locked door might look at a hand holding the wrong key. Delete that. The photo? The mistake. Mine or yours? The whole studio went silent. That was not my smartest moment. It was not my worst either. Celine stepped closer. Miss Voss, Miss Vale, you were not hired for honesty. That keeps happening to me. For 1 second, her gaze dropped to my mouth. So quickly, I almost thought I invented it. Almost. But I had spent my life looking for moments people thought they hid. Celine looked away first. Camille stepped forward. Perhaps we should all remember why the magazine is here. We need calm. We need stability. We need a clean image of Vale House after the unfortunate video. Celine did not turn. Unfortunate. Camille smiled. Would you prefer accurate? No, I would prefer useful. That has always been your problem. You think usefulness excuses cruelty. Elise looked down at her shoe. I saw Celine see it. I saw the choice arrive. She could defend herself or protect the dancer. She chose the dancer. Remove the shoe, Celine said. Elise's eyes widened. Celine, remove it. Everyone is watching. Yes. The word was cruel until it was not. Elise untied the ribbon with shaking hands. The shoe came off. Her ankle was swollen along the side, bruised beneath the wrap, angry in a way bodies become when they are tired of being negotiated with. The donors saw it. The magazine saw it. Camille saw it. The room understood too late. Celine crouched in front of Elise. The movement cost her. Her own leg stiffened. Her jaw held tight. She did not touch Elise's ankle. She only looked. Who cleared you? Elise's mouth trembled. I did? Why? Because if I miss this performance, I lose the role. No. Yes. No, Celine said again, quieter. If you dance on that, you may lose more than the role. The room had nothing clever to do with that, so it judged in silence. Camille recovered first. This could have been handled privately. Celine stood. It was until you brought an audience. That hit cleanly. I lifted the camera. Click. Camille turned toward me. Are you photographing board matters now? I photograph what happens in front of me. How convenient. Not usually. Celine crossed the room toward me. The dancers parted. She stopped close enough that the heat of her body reached me before her voice did. Show me. I brought up the screen. The photograph showed her in the instant Elise said, It's my body. A crack, a flash, a woman hearing her own history come back with a younger mouth. Celine stared. Indecent, she said. No. What is it then? Proof that you felt it. Her eyes lifted. The studio blurred around us. Feeling is not proof of virtue, Miss Voss. No, but hiding it is not proof of strength. That was the first time she did not answer immediately. Her fingers hovered near the camera screen, not touching. She looked like she wanted to destroy it. She looked like she wanted to keep it. Camille's voice sliced between us. Celine, we need to move on. Celine's face closed. I hated how quickly the mask returned. Rehearsal is over, she said. Camille stiffened. We have donors. Then entertain them. The magazine needs a portrait. The magazine can wait. Celine. No. 2 letters. The room obeyed them before anyone decided to. Celine turned to me. Bring your camera. Where? Her eyes moved once toward a black door at the back of the rehearsal studio. The door no one had opened. The old stage. Camille stepped forward. Absolutely not. Celine did not look at her. That room is closed. So are many useful things, Celine said. Then she walked to the door, unlocked it, and looked back at me. The look was not an invitation. It was worse, a test. I followed. The hallway behind the studio was narrow and dark red, faded near the baseboards. Old posters hung crookedly under dusty glass. The air was cooler there, as if the building had stored a different season behind the door. Celine walked ahead, not limping, negotiating. There is a difference. So, I said, because Silence and I had never built anything stable together. Is this where you murder photographers who do not delete things? Only the ones who ask lazy questions. That implies a standard. I respect that. She did not turn. You use humor when you are nervous. Everyone keeps diagnosing me today. Am I wrong? No. Then it is not diagnosis. It is observation. You and Vittoria would either get along terribly or run a country together. This time, Celine made a sound. Small, almost unwilling, but real. We reached another set of doors, black wood, brass handles, a lock newer than the frame. Celine's hand hovered over it. For the first time, she hesitated where I could see it. I did not raise the camera. She noticed. Why not? You have not opened it yet. Her eyes came to mine. Something shifted there. A quiet recalculation. Then she unlocked the door. The old stage was beautiful. That was the problem. I had expected dust, decay, maybe one broken chair and a shaft of tragic light. Instead, the room was preserved. Red velvet seats, dark wood, heavy curtains, a narrow stage, an old bar along one side, a ghost light burning alone at center stage, a theater inside a theater, a wound cleaned daily and never allowed to close. Celine stepped in first. I followed. The door shut behind us. Then she locked it. I looked at the lock. That seems dramatic. People interrupt what they do not respect. And what do you respect? She walked to the stage steps. Silence. That must make me a disappointment. You are not silent, she said. A pause. She looked at me. But you are not careless. I did not know what to do with that. So naturally, I made it worse. Careful. That sounded almost like a compliment. It was an assessment. Even more intimate. Her eyes narrowed, but not coldly now. Do you flirt with all your clients when they lock doors? Only the ones with donor scandals and excellent cheekbones. Celine looked away. I caught the almost smile before it died. Click. The sound changed the room. Celine turned back. You have a problem. Yes, with permission. Sometimes. With survival, she said. That shut me up. She climbed onto the stage. Near the center, just left of the ghost light, there was a pale mark in the wood. A scuffed place, lighter than the rest. Celine stopped before it. Not on it. Before it. This is where it happened, she said. The fall. She did not correct me. The ghost light made one side of her face gold and the other shadow. I was 29. Her voice was flat, but not empty. Opening night, full house, my mother in the third row, Camille in the wings, critics in the center, a donor in the front row who had spent the reception saying ballet was pain made elegant. I said nothing. Final variation. I landed badly. Her eyes stayed on the mark. I heard the sound before I felt it. My stomach tightened. There are sounds the body understands even in stories. I tried to stand, she said. Why? She looked at me then as if the answer should have embarrassed us both. Because the music was still playing. That sentence went through the room. It explained Elise. It explained the video. It explained the cruelty people saw and the mercy they missed. You saw yourself in her, I said. That is sentimental. That does not make it wrong. It makes it incomplete. Then complete it. Her eyes held mine. For a second, I thought she would tell me to leave. Instead, she sat on the edge of the stage. The movement cost her. I saw it. I did not comment. That felt like the first right thing I had done. Elise is talented, Celine said, too talented to understand that talent is not a body. It does not survive without one. And the video? Camille's nephew filmed it. Of course he did. Only the last part, only the part where I looked cruel. She leaked it. I cannot prove that. That is not the same as no. No. The ghost light hummed. I stepped closer to the stage. Why not explain? Celine laughed once. It was not amused. Have you ever tried to explain pain to people who already enjoy your guilt? I had no quick answer. Celine continued. They do not want context. They want shape. Cold director, broken dancer, cruel woman, perfect frame. Her eyes moved to my camera. Frames are dangerous. Yes. And yet you make them. Yes. Why? I looked at the camera in my hands. Because sometimes a frame is the only way to prove someone was standing there before everyone rewrites the room. Celine looked at me for a long time. Then she said, "That sounds like something Vittoria would collect. Probably in a black folder. Does she collect you?" Too precise. I looked away. Celine noticed. Of course she did. Interesting. No, it was. You are changing the subject. I am observing the photographer. I am not the assignment. Her mouth curved. No, she said, but I suspect you are often the consequence. I hated how badly I liked that. The old stage leaned closer around us. Celine stood. She walked to the pale mark and placed one foot beside it. Not on it. Beside it. Take the portrait here. From the audience? No. Her voice changed, lower, not softer, more dangerous. From where I fell. I looked at the stage, then at her. You want me on the floor? I want the truth from the angle that saw it first. That was pure Celine. Control pretending to be concept. Fear dressed as instruction. But underneath, it was a request. I climbed the stage slowly and crouched near the pale mark. Celine stood above me, one hand near the bar, the ghost light between us and the empty seats. The angle was intimate in a strange way, vulnerable from the wrong direction. I raised the camera. Click. She did not move. Click. Her fingers tightened around the bar. Click. Stop performing, I said. Her eyes dropped to mine. Excuse me? You heard me. You are kneeling on my stage telling me how to stand. Yes. Bold. Occupational hazard. Her gaze sharpened. What would you prefer? The truth. Her face closed. There it is again. What? That word. You use it like permission to cut. That hit because it was true enough to bruise. I lowered the camera. And you use control like permission to disappear. Celine stepped away from the bar. The theater seemed to shrink. Careful. You keep saying that. And you keep refusing to learn. I learn quickly. No, she said. You look quickly. You understand later. That shut me up harder than I liked. She turned away. For a second, I thought she was walking to the door. Instead, she unpinned her hair. The gesture was quiet, almost nothing. Dark hair fell around her shoulders, not dramatically, humanly. She placed the pin on the bar, then looked at me again. Take it now. I raised the camera slowly. This time, she did not stand like a director. She stood like a dancer, remembering the exact second the music did not stop. Click. Her mouth trembled. Barely. Click. Her eyes shone but did not spill. Click. Then she said, "Do you know what they wrote after?" No. That I fell beautifully. My fingers stilled. Celine smiled. A terrible small thing. They said even my failure had grace. I lowered the camera. Celine, do not soften your voice. I wasn't. You were. Maybe you deserved one soft thing in this room. That was the wrong thing, or the right one. With women like Celine, those often look the same for several seconds. She stepped toward me. I was still crouched near the mark. She stopped close enough that the toe of her black shoe entered the edge of the frame. Do you think softness saves people? She asked. No. Then why offer it? Because not everything offered is meant to save. Her breath changed. There, not much. Just enough. She looked down at me, and for the first time all day, I saw the woman beneath the director, beneath the scandal, beneath the myth, tired, furious, lonely in a room full of evidence, still standing. I lifted the camera again. Tell me what you see, she said. Not a command, not quite. I looked through the viewfinder. A woman who lost the stage and still owns the room. Her face changed. It was small, but this time she did not hide it. Click. That was the photograph. I knew it immediately. So did she, because she closed her eyes. The theater held us. Then she opened them and looked at me, not at the camera, at me. Show me. I stood slowly. She did not step back. That was the first thing I noticed. We were close now, too close for the shape of the assignment. Close enough that the camera between us felt less like equipment and more like an excuse. I turned the screen toward her. Celine looked down. The photograph showed her on the old stage, hair loose, eyes steady, one hand near the bar, the pale mark in the floor beside her. Not apology, not scandal, not cruelty. A woman standing beside the place where the world had decided her story ended. Her thumb hovered near the screen. This is not the official portrait. No, it cannot go to the magazine. No, it cannot go to the board. No. What is it? The one that tells you you were there. Her eyes lifted to mine. The room went very still. She was close enough now that if either of us breathed wrong, the space between us would change. Her gaze dropped to my mouth. Once, quickly, then back to my eyes, but the room had already seen it. So had I. Dahlia, she said. The way she said my name made the ghost light seem suddenly too bright. Yes? Do you always look this closely? Only when someone is trying very hard not to be seen. Her hand moved, not to my face, to the camera strap. She touched it lightly, two fingers against the black band near my collarbone. A nothing touch, a devastating one. This is unprofessional, she said. Yes. You are my photographer? Yes. I do not like being looked at, as if I am one sentence away from confession. That is specific. You do it specifically. I can stop. No. The word came out too fast, honest before it could become controlled. She heard it. I heard it. For one suspended second, the old theater felt like it had no doors. Celine stepped closer. The camera pressed lightly between us. Her fingers still held the strap. I did not move. Not forward. Not back. Do you want me to leave? I asked. No. Do you want the photograph deleted? No. Do you want me to stop looking? Her eyes moved over my face, slowly, like looking itself had become a risk. No. The last answer was barely sound. That was the almost kiss, not because our mouths touched. They did not. Because everything else did. Her breath, my stillness, her hand on the strap, the way her eyes kept falling and returning, falling and returning. Then someone pounded on the locked door. Camille's voice came from the other side. Celine, open the door. Celine did not move. Another knock, harder. The donors are waiting. Celine's fingers tightened once on the strap before she released it. The absence of her hand felt louder than the knocking. She turned toward the door. Are they? Yes, Camille snapped. And the magazine, and the board. Celine looked back at me. Something alive moved behind her controlled face. Then they can wait. I should have been nervous. I was, but I was also smiling. because Celine Vale, who had been called cruel for refusing to let a dancer destroy herself for applause, was standing above the mark where she had fallen, hair loose, mask cracked, and the most powerful people in the building were on the other side of the door, unable to get in. The lock clicked. Someone had found another key. Celine looked at the door, then back at me. Take one more. The door opened. Camille stepped inside with the magazine man, two donors, and a board member who looked like he had never met a private moment he would not try to monetize. Selene did not step away from me fast enough. Camille saw. Her eyes went to Celine's loose hair, to the camera, to my mouth, then to the space that had almost disappeared between us. Oh, Camille said, this explains the new portrait direction. Celine's face cooled. The director returned, but now I had seen where the mask joined the skin. Camille walked farther inside. You are making a mistake. No, Celine said. I am finishing a rehearsal. The donors are concerned. They are welcome to leave. They fund this company. They fund the illusion that they matter more than the dancers. One donor stiffened. I almost laughed. Wrong room. Wonderful sentence. Camille's smile sharpened. People already think you are unstable. Locking yourself in here with Vittoria's photographer does not help. Celine said nothing. Camille came closer. You were brilliant when you danced, but leadership requires something other than injury performed as authority. The hit landed. Celine's shoulders did not move, but I saw it, the tiny inward collapse. I stepped beside her before I decided to. Camille's eyes found me. Miss Voss, this is not your stage. No, I said, but I know framing when I see it. What? The video, the rehearsal, this room, even this conversation. You keep arriving at the exact moment where context can be removed. Camille smiled. That is a serious accusation. No, it is an observation. The magazine man looked thrilled. I hated him immediately. Camille stepped closer to me. Be careful. You are a hired photographer. I know. Then take photographs. So I did. Click. Camille's smile vanished. The photograph caught her in the exact second. Softness dropped and something uglier looked out. Click. Another. This time, her hand half raised toward the camera. Stop that! I lowered it. You told me to take photographs. Celine looked at Camille. For the first time, she seemed almost peaceful. Not happy. Not safe. Clear. Leave, she said. Camille laughed once. You do not get to dismiss the board. No, Celine said. I dismiss you. The sentence did not shout. It did not need to. Camille looked at the donors. Then the magazine man. Then me. You have no idea what you are stepping into. I hear that a lot. Camille's gaze moved back to Celine. This will cost you. Celine looked at the old stage, the pale mark, the ghost light. Then she said, "It already did." For once, Camille had no answer ready. That was enough. Celine walked past her to the door. "Rehearsal resumes in 10 minutes. Elise will not dance today. The understudy will take her place. The donors may watch from the house or leave. The magazine will have one official portrait." Camille's mouth tightened. "And what portrait is that?" Celine turned back. Her eyes found mine. A private question. A public choice. The one Miss Voss takes after everyone stops instructing her. The room held that. Camille left first. The donors followed. The magazine man lingered until Celine looked at him. He discovered urgent business elsewhere. When they were gone, the room felt larger. Celine stood near the ghost light, hair still loose. The old stage no longer felt locked, only quiet. The rehearsal resumed 10 minutes later. Elise sat in the front row with her ankle elevated on a folded coat. She did not speak for a long time. Then she said, "She hates me now." I glanced at Selene correcting spacing on stage with terrifying calm. No, she looked furious. She looked scared. Elise stared at me, young in the way people are when they realize care can arrive wearing the wrong face. "She did not tell them," Elise whispered. "What?" "That I lied about the pain check, that I said I was cleared." I looked at Celine. No, she did not. She could have. Yes. Why didn't she? Because she would rather be called cruel than hand your shame to people who would use it badly, I thought. But I only said, "You should ask her." Elise laughed softly. "Terrifying." "Yes. She scares everyone." "No," I said, watching Celine catch a timing mistake before the pianist did. "She scares people who want her easier." Elise looked at me too closely. "You like her?" "I respect her." "That is not what I said." "You are injured. Do not overexert yourself." She smiled for the first time. I liked her immediately. That was inconvenient. The official portrait session happened after rehearsal, when Camille had been placed somewhere out of my direct line of sight and the donors had been pacified with champagne, which seemed to be their natural habitat. Celine led me back into the old stage. This time, she did not lock the door. She left it open. I noticed. She noticed me noticing. "You approve?" "I am not your board." That did not answer the question. Yes, the ghost light was still burning. Celine stood at center stage and began arranging herself. Shoulders, chin, hands, woman becoming monument. I lifted the camera. Click, perfect, dead. Click, beautiful, useless. Click, Celine Vale as the world expected to fear her. I lowered the camera. "What?" she asked. "You are doing it again." "Doing what?" "Making yourself useful to the people who misunderstand you." Her jaw tightened. "The magazine needs a portrait. The magazine needs a story. The board needs reassurance. The board needs a hobby. Miss Voss. Dahlia? The name came out before I planned it. The room changed. Celine looked at me. If you are going to glare at me like that, you can use my first name. A beat. Then she said, Dahlia. I hated how good it sounded. You should stand on the mark, I said. No. Yes. That is not the official portrait. It is if you stop treating the worst place as something that still owns you. Her face hardened. You think you understand because you saw one mark on a floor. No, I think you brought me here because you wanted someone to see it and not flinch. Silence. Then she said, Vittoria chose you well. That is one of the more annoying things about her. Celine looked down at the pale mark, then stepped toward it. One step, another. She stopped beside it. Like this? No. Her eyes came up. I walked onto the stage. The air changed with every step. Celine watched me come closer. I stopped a few feet away. On it. Her face went still. No. You asked for the truth from the angle that saw it first. I asked for a photograph. They are not always separate things. She looked at the mark. For the first time, fear showed without disguise. Not panic, fear with posture. I have not stood there since that night, she said. The sentence was almost too quiet. I felt it in my throat. Then I will not ask twice. Her eyes lifted to mine. You just did. I am done now. I stepped back, not as a trick, not pressure, space, actual space. Celine looked at me like she did not know what to do with it. Then slowly, very slowly, she placed one foot on the pale mark. Her breath caught. She looked away. I did not lift the camera. Her hands curled at her sides. The room seemed to pull around her. I waited. Sometimes that is the only useful thing a person can do. Celine closed her eyes. The ghost light burned. From the open door, distant piano notes drifted through the corridor. Then she opened her eyes and looked at me. Now, I raised the camera. Click. The photograph caught her standing where she had fallen. Not healed, not triumphant, standing. Sometimes that is enough to make a room change allegiance. Click. This time, her shoulders dropped. Click. Her mouth parted, not for performance, but for breath. Then she looked directly into the lens. Click. There. The official portrait. Not apology, not scandal, not cruelty. A woman standing in the exact place the story had ended and refusing to let that be the final frame. I lowered the camera. Celine stared at me. Show me. I walked closer. The camera between us again. Always between us. I turned the screen. She looked. Her face did nothing at first. Then her hand rose, stopped before touching the screen. You made me look tired, she said. You are. You made me look severe. You are. You made me look. She stopped. I waited. Her voice changed. Still here. I smiled softly. That too. For a second, neither of us moved. Then Celine reached for the camera strap. Not the camera, the strap. Her fingers brushed mine. Small contact, ridiculous effect. Do you always tell women exactly what they are trying not to hear? She asked. No, only difficult ones. Only the ones who hire me. Her thumb moved once against the strap. You are very irritating. I have been told. By Vittoria? Among others. Did you photograph her too? Too casual. Not casual at all. Yes. Celine's eyes stayed on mine. And did she let you see her? Not completely. No, Celine said she wouldn't. I should have asked what that meant. I did not, because Celine was standing very close now. The old stage around us, the open door behind us, the portrait glowing on the camera screen between our hands. Celine. Yes? If I step closer, will you tell me to leave? Her face changed. A fraction. A crack. I should. That was not the question. Her fingers tightened on the strap. No. I moved closer, slowly enough for the room to object. It did not. Her eyes dropped to my mouth again. This time, she did not pretend otherwise. May I? I asked. Celine looked almost angry that I had asked, or maybe angry that she liked being asked. Yes. I touched her hand first, the one that had tightened around banisters and bars and camera straps. Her fingers were cold. I held them lightly. Celine looked down at our hands, then back at me. The director was still there, the powerful woman, the impossible client, the scandal, the locked rooms. But under all of that was someone who had once heard the music continue after her body broke and had spent years making sure no one else mistook pain for devotion. I leaned in. She met me halfway. The kiss was careful at first, controlled, a thing asking permission even after permission had been given. Then, Selene exhaled against my mouth, and the control changed shape. Not gone, chosen. Her hand rose to my jaw, not gripping, not claiming, resting there as if one point of contact could hold the room still. I stepped closer. Her fingers curled once against my cheek. The old stage held us without applause. No music, no audience. Good. When she pulled back, her eyes stayed closed for 1 second longer than mine. I saw the exact moment she remembered the open door. The building. The donors. The board. The world that had never met a private moment it did not want to own. I touched her wrist before she could retreat completely. Stay here, I said. Her eyes opened. With you? With yourself. That one landed. Hard. Celine looked toward the pale mark on the floor, then at the open door, then back at me. I have not done that in years. I know. You know too many things. Occupational hazard. She laughed softly, so small I almost missed it. Then my phone buzzed. Of course it did. Victoria, because she had a supernatural ability to arrive whenever a room became too honest. I looked at the screen. Celine saw the name. Answer it. That feels dangerous. It probably is. I answered. Victoria did not say hello. Did she let you photograph the fall? I looked at Celine. Celine looked back. The stage, the mark, the kiss still alive between us. No, I said. Victoria was quiet. Then I added, she let me photograph the moment after. On the other end, Victoria made a sound that might have been approval if she had been a warmer person. Good. That is it. For now. Of course. Dahlia. Yes? Do not send me the private one. I went still. Celine watched me. You knew, I said. I guessed. That is what you call it? That is what polite people call it. You are impossible, I have been told. The line went dead. I lowered the phone. Celine's eyebrow lifted. She guessed? She claims. Victoria does not guess. No. Celine looked toward the open door, then at the camera. Which one will you send? The official portrait. And the others? Yours. For how long? As long as you want them. She considered that, then said, and if I want one more? I should have asked what kind of photograph. I did not, because Celine had already started walking toward center stage again. Not to the pale mark, past it, beyond it. She stopped under the ghost light and looked out at the empty seats. Then she turned back to me. This time, she did not look like a woman asking to be repaired. She looked like a woman deciding who was allowed to witness the next version of her. Stand here, she said. Where? On the stage. I climbed beside her. She positioned me with 2 fingers at my shoulder. Gentle, precise, a director even in tenderness. Here, closer. I moved closer. She looked at the empty theater, then at me. People watched me fall from there, she said. Yes. I want one frame from here. With me? With you. My chest tightened. Selenia, do not make it sentimental. I was going to say the camera is on the stage. Her mouth curved. Then we will have to remember it. The ghost light flickered softly. The empty seats waited. I stood beside Celine Vale on the stage where she had fallen, in the room she had locked after the world had watched 32 seconds and called it truth. She reached for my hand, not for balance, not exactly, for choice. And for the first time all day, Celine Vale did not look like a woman who had lost the stage. She looked like a woman deciding who was allowed to stand on it with her.